Lethe ladies and Darkwood dudes, bring 3 steaks to sate the ravenous appetite of the tri-headed pup. Place your himbo in limbo. And no, there's been a mistake. I'm being punished for wantonness, but my sin was eating wontons.
It's time to talk to me. It's time to talk to me.
The Third Circle of Hell is for podcasters. Welcome back to the podcast. I am Owen Thomas Sade.
And I am Nick McGill.
Together we are Feckless Momes.
And this, my little psychopomps, is Talk to Me.
A contrapasso punishment in the 9 circles of prog rock, in which Nimrod Nick and Omva Omen will be confronted with the shades of each and every terza rima track that virtuous pagan rock band Jethro Tull have ever allowed to be carried away by lustful self-indulgence. We will guide David Goodyear past the Geryon of gluttony. We will abandon all hope when we see John O'Hara carried off by hypocritical harpies. And we will jump for joy as Jack Clark becomes the javelin of justice against Judas Iscariot in a cashew tree.
Call back
to last week. And if we can keep our allegory acrimonious, blunt the blasphemers, and clink a couple of coppers to charm Charon, we might just find ourselves face to lovely face with that Beatrice of the blowpipe, the flautist of the fiery tombs, the carnal malefactor who throws it back, Tor, the Malabrogue of music, Archbishop Ian Acheron Anderson.
Malabrogue is a layer of hell? Is that what it is?
It's a geographical feature of the Inferno, yeah.
Okay.
It's like trenches of sorrow.
I take medicine for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. My doctor, what's the thing where you identify a disease?
Diagnose?
My doctor died. Nick, what are we talking?
I'll see you in hell, Dr. Smith.
Nick, what is it that we are talking about today here on the podcast?
We are on track number 6 off of Curious Ruminant. This is the track entitled Stygian Hand.
Ooh.
Pretty cool, badass name.
Very, very badass.
Yeah.
Anything before we dive in?
I think we ought to dive in to see how badass this song actually is.
I bet it's going to be downright Stygian.
I'll give you a hand for that.
Nick McGill.
Omen Sade.
That was very much the Stygian Hand track.
Sure was. It sure was.
How did it make you feel?
I like this song a lot.
That shocks me.
This is one of the few that really grabs me by the accordion and shakes me.
Yeah.
Like a dog with a rat. The accordion snaps my neck.
Yes, it does.
That's what it does.
And you're like, thank you.
Thank you, accordion. May I have another?
Yeah. Yeah, so it dives straight in. There's no creeping up on the introduction. The first note comes in real strong with drum, accordion, flute, all at the same time, whammo in.
Yeah, very cool sound.
And 4 minutes and so later, 4 minutes, 15 seconds later-ish, it ends all on the same note. All instruments hit the same note together and boom, it's out.
Just as abruptly, yeah.
As suddenly as it came, it went.
Just like life.
Like lifening. Like lifening in the sky.
Yep.
No Jack in this song, as far as I can detect.
Incorrect.
What?
Yep. I heard him at the last of the new verses, so right in the middle.
I would like to.
Really like stingy in the background. He's definitely not backbone or anything here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a journey. He goes.
There is too much taking the forefront here that he has to take the back. And when you pick him up, it's a lot of fun.
It is. He's kind of going a third or a fifth above the tune in harmony and adding just a little demonish belt.
He's an imp. Imp flying through the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hell is the song, and he's going, wee!
Whee! And he's torturing souls.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So we do not have James Duncan on this track.
No, this is a Scott Hammond joint.
We do miss James Duncan.
Oh, James Duncan. Speaking of James, I do think this is one that he gave us a little glimpse at.
Yes. I remember. So this whole track has a very Celtic feel to it in terms of how the accordion and the flute particularly are being played, and the mandolin.
Sure.
And even the tune of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, I think you're totally right. When we had our little sneak preview, this was one of those. And I remember this was one of the ones that I got excited about.
Yes. What a cool, unique sound for Tull even. It's exciting to hear it as like a little snippet and then to go from there to really finally be able to experience the song for what it is.
Yeah.
Thank you, James.
Thank you, James, for everything.
For everything.
Thank you for being a friend. I don't remember the rest of it.
No.
Golden Girls.
That's it. It's just scatting the Golden Girls the rest of the time.
We have great mandolin on this track.
Cobbled roadway, darkness, pitch, gray mist swirling.
I don't think we have an acoustic guitar.
I don't think so either.
We have a lot of accordion. The accordion is doing double work.
I've made notes of accordion 1, 2, 3, 4 times in my notes. I say accordion at a certain time. It's just so good.
I really hope that John O'Hara enjoys playing the accordion because he sure is doing a lot of it.
He is. He's earning his bread, as they say. Ian keeps him in a cage and feeds him crumbs, is what
Oh my
what I'm
goodness.
trying to say here.
Ian's voice is really gorgeous. It's downright Stygian.
It works for this.
It's got a darkness to it, and I particularly am enjoying when he goes down the note. I think in the very first verse, he says something lightly treading, "This way comes."
Something lightly treading this way comes.
And it's just got that. Like if you were to make scotch out of chocolate, that's what it would sound like.
He is a psychopomp in this song.
What's a psychopomp?
Psychopomp is in every culture, there's at least one psychopomp. It's the entity that brings spirits from the living to the dead. So Charon is a psychopomp. Hermes is a psychopomp.
Yeah, the fox.
The fox, yeah. I think the raven is in
Yep.
some cultures, yeah.
Oh, that's really fun. Isn't it? The Valkyries, in a way,
Kind of, yeah.
they bring the living souls. They're the transitory bridge between the living and the dead.
Yeah, I think they were safe to be classified as such.
For some people.
If you died in battle honorably.
Right, which I didn't.
You didn't. That's why you're stuck here. Purgatory.
Scott Hammond's drumming is such a beautiful mixture of being so laid back but so powerful.
You can't be laid back and not powerful in this song.
I enjoy that he pulls back for the verses. So the whole thing is kind of going between quiet moments where Ian is singing, and then we have this repeated refrain of bum dum ba dum dum rum ba dum dum ba dum dum.
Right.
Dim 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 dee 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 dum 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 dum.
And it varies throughout, but it's that that same melody that we're hitting every time.
Yes, until we get to symbol of faith,
Yeah.
symbol of sacrifice.
Our bridge / chorus,
Broris.
maybe a broris,
Our Aurora Bori chorus.
a slow chorus.
A sloris.
That's not a slow loris. That's what I was going for.
Ah, yeah, that's quite funny. Very amusing.
Mammologists would love that joke.
Mammologists
I'm
everywhere.
gonna run that by your mom.
Love this joke. So he's really pulling back for the lines, for the singing lines, and then he dives in with just great relaxed power.
Yes. Yes. With great relaxed power comes great relaxed responsibility.
Around when we get to Symbol of Faith, we do have some beautiful wailing flutage in the background. The kind of flute overdrive sound.
Symbol of faith, symbol of sacrifice, icon of glory, graven in gold.
That lamentable or lamenting, maybe lamentable as well, but that lamenting, like keening cry.
Yes, that high and lonesome
Heinlein and flute.
the banshee cry from the mountains.
Yes.
Beautiful, really, really gorgeous.
Very cool.
And then the other flute sound that we have in here is that kind of Celtic lilting. Licka ticka 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 dum ticka 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 dum ticka ticka dum dum. Really, really fun. Don't know if it's two flutes.
I think it's one. It's probably one.
Probably one.
Probably. Oh, in those moments, in those, I think Scott is kind of marchy, actually.
Yeah.
Very snare heavy on those moments.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
The accordion goes from more Celtic to less Celtic to more Celtic.
It's a frantic Celtic. It's not entirely sure what it wants to be, but goddamn, is it good?
It's pan-Celtic.
It's pan Celtic.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the sound in here, the thematic sound, the genre, I guess, of what we're hearing here is really quite difficult to pin down, but I love how dark it is.
It's the musical amalgamation of all the Celtic forms that were brought to hell by people who died. It's the Celtic band from hell that are like, oh, you know what? We're Irish, you're Scottish, we used to fight maybe a little bit, but here in hell, we're all the same.
We're tired of playing the Wild Rovers, so let's play Stygian Hand.
Let's play Stygian Hand.
I like it.
The accordion is so fun in this.
It's awesome all throughout.
At about 2 minutes and 45 seconds, we have a wonderful little dash from the drums and the bass. It was one of the only moments that I started to pull out the bass in my ear.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, it's just really, really nice.
Really cool.
We have some onomatopoetic sounds whenever Ian says crash, which happens twice. We have a
Symbol.
symbol or some kind of an object being struck to reinforce the crash.
Yes.
Crash!
Ian alone is enough, but we added a little more flavor. And it's nice because it is being a symbol or something metallic. It takes that really, really high register to kind of
it doesn't get in the way of his
juxtapose.
voice.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make it muddy or anything.
Stygian Hand continues with our slow song, fast song, slow song, fast song
Yeah.
pattern that we've had so far on this album.
Yeah.
Savannah of
true.
Paddington Green was quite a bit more relaxed.
I would say.
Stygian Hand breaks out of the album like a squirrel being startled in a woodpile.
Or if at Hofstra, out of a garbage can.
Right.
I had a friend
Right.
who got attacked by a squirrel because they tried to throw something out into a garbage can. The squirrel came out like a spider monkey.
That'll teach him.
Yeah.
How dare you put trash in my trash can?
Throw it on the floor. I'll pick it up later.
Anything else to say musically about this track, Nick?
No, it just accordion. I mean, continue to say accordion and continue to listen to accordion.
It's in some kind of common time, either 2,
4, 6, or 8.
well, not except, all of those except for 6.
It's uncommon.
It's an even time signature.
Okay.
And I don't think there's not a lot of progginess in terms of the time signatures here.
No, I don't think so. I think how squirrely the accordion is makes it feel a little more complex.
And I also think that the changing of the tune when we get to that chorus bridge, that is going into a territory that is not purely just straight ahead, like a Celtic normal tune.
Yeah, it becomes a little more simplified, which I think is pretty effective in terms of how chaotic the rest is.
And unexpected. I mean, based on where the verse tune is going, you wouldn't expect, if it were a traditional tune, you wouldn't expect it to go where it goes in the chorus. And and it gives you that feeling of like, oh God, what's happening?
Yeah, and where are we going from here?
Where are we going from here? Oh, back to the verse. Thank
Back
goodness.
to the verse. Good Lord.
Crash!
Nick McGill,
Oh, man.
what is a hand? What is your hand doing there?
Ooh.
Now, what is Stygian, first of all?
Stygian is the adjective of the word Styx,
As in the river.
as in the river that Charon takes the souls across from. One of the rivers in hell, not the only.
Yeah, there are in classical mythology, or if you take Dante's Inferno as any map, then there are 5 rivers of the underworld, the Styx being the one that encircles the underworld. You cannot get to the underworld without passing over the river Styx.
Right.
Stygian also means dark, somber,
Yes.
gloomy, foreboding,
Mhm.
etc.
Yeah, so Styx like, or it has also picked up that meaning as well because, I mean, Styx is in hell.
Right. Each of the rivers has some sort of very specific meaning that we probably won't entirely get into, but maybe we will. But in this case, Stygian is dark and foreboding. So the Stygian hand is the dark hand of gloom and darkness.
Almost makes me think of like the monkey's paw or the dead man's paw.
Yeah.
I forget the actual name that they use, but it's like the one can like unlock any lock, and the other can light up in the darkness, and the other can kill a man if you point it at him, and it's taken from a hanged man and done like witchcraft on.
Right. So, cobbled roadway, dark as pitch, gray mist swirling.
Cobbled roadway, dark as pitch, gray mist swirling.
We have already a Stygian setting, dark, misty, gray.
Pretty accurate to what I would expect if I had died and I was walking through like the mists of limbo to get to
Yes.
the afterworld.
And how many times, Nick? How many times? How many times have we talked about Dante's Inferno on this podcast?
Good Lord, I have lost count.
Talk Dante's Inferno to me.
Yeah. Dalliance with Dante.
Oh, that sounds good. We have, of course, the famous line, Nel mezzo del cammin di nostra vita. In the midway point of his life, Dante finds himself lost. This could be cobbled roadway, dark as pitch, gray mist swirling. That could be that moment of being lost in the bosco oscuro.
Yeah. That's kind of what it feels like.
Ian continues, something lightly treading this way comes.
Something lightly treading this way comes.
Which is a play on something wicked this way comes.
It does feel like that, which is from
Oh, that's Shakespeare, yeah?
Macbeth.
Macbeth.
The witches say, by the pricking of my thumb, something wicked this way comes.
Dunson and Hill.
Referring to Macbeth.
Nice.
Could be the Bobby on his beat, torch probe a curling.
Could be the Bobby on his beat, torch probe a curling.
The Bobby is British slang for
For a copper, the fuzz.
the fuzz, the piggies,
And a torch is British for flashlight.
a flashlight.
Flash, ash.
So
light.
could be the Bobby on his beat, torch probe a curling along the dead-end alleys between the slums.
Along the dead end alley between the slums.
So the something lightly treading could be the Bobby.
One hopes so.
One does not know.
One thinks that it might be a cop. And one does not find out because crash!
Crash the Stygian hand against my brow.
Unholy tempter with confrontation face.
Crash the Stygian hand against my brow. Unholy tempter with confrontation face.
Crash is one of my favorite Charlie XCX albums.
I knew that. That's why I planned this song.
It's great. Yeah. So what does it mean? What could we possibly say? The Stygian hand across my brow.
And he died. I think it's death, isn't it?
Interesting. I was thinking it was depression.
I mean, it could also be that.
I'm walking in a dark alley. Is that a cop? No, it's depression.
The footsteps of depression down the alley.
Who's that there? It's me, depression. Oh no.
Unholy tempter with confrontation face.
I proffer cross of comfort, defiant exorcism, no starting gun to join this hoary devil's race.
I proffer cross of comfort, defiant exorcism. No starting gun to join this hoary devil's race.
I think we have said at some point that Ian missed out on a career being a preacher.
Yes,
That
correct.
he himself actually explores a little bit in Thick as a Brick too,
Yeah.
by way of Gerald Bostock.
Hoary is grayish or white, or a grayish white, or
Sort of.
also old and trite. Could be either.
Grayish white, old and trite, take your pick. So he's confronted with something. an unholy tempter. So there are lots of unholy tempters. That could be any of the sins. It could be temptation of lust. It could be temptation of gluttony, greed, wrath, heresy, violence, fraud, treachery, etc.
Any of the above.
Any of the above.
And in response to that, I proffer cross of comfort. I hold out the cross, which comforts me.
Interesting. You know, you could say it is a comforting cross, or it is something that is comfortable, that he is holding like a cross. No, I can't be depressed. I'm wearing my favorite scarf.
Yeah, I'm wearing my gym jams.
That always make me feel good.
I always feel good in gym jams. Okay, yeah. Defiant exorcism, yeah. I don't want to be depressed, so I put on my gym jams.
I exercised this morning. I can't possibly be depressed.
Yes, this is exorcism, not exercise.
No starting gun to join this hoary devil's race. That's quite interesting because one might realize that one has joined without noticing.
Yes, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm depressed.
How long have I been running this race?
Oh, I'm sinning.
Oh, my God, how long have I been sinning?
And then we have our chorus.
Symbol of faith, symbol of sacrifice, icon of glory, graven in gold.
Symbol of faith, symbol of sacrifice, icon of glory, graven in gold.
Well, now that makes me think that it really is the cross,
Yes.
because he is describing all those things could be used to describe the cross.
Yes.
Or the
correct.
crucifix.
Yeah.
Alpha, Omega, and all things between. Strength to the bearer, good grace to behold.
Alpha, Omega, and all things between. Strength to the bearer, good grace to behold.
Everything good. Everything. The Alpha
Yeah.
and the Omega and everything in between.
Yeah. God is the Alpha and the Omega. Religion,
Right.
the cross.
Faith.
All kind of lumped together in the same synonymous bubble.
Right. It's a conglomerate of values and virtues.
Yeah. Yeah, but all for the good in dichotomy of that hoary devil's race to fight that confrontation, that unholy tempter. This is the ammunition for that defiant exorcism.
There seems to be something a little, the lady doth protest too much. There seems to be a little too much trying to convince us of the fact that this symbol of defiance really works.
We'll do something, yeah.
Look at this. It's a symbol of faith. It's a symbol of sacrifice. It's an icon of glory. You want it graven in gold? Sure. Listen, it's the Alpha Omega. Little Julienne fries.
Call now, 1999.
Right. So it is interesting, and maybe I'm completely misinterpreting that. Maybe he really is like, no, this really is the thing that blocks the Stygian hand, whether that's death, sin, or depression.
Or just mortality, the idea of coming to grips with one's own mortality, or the end of the band, or things like that. Ian has said all of these things. I'm getting old. The band is getting old. Is there another album after this?
Who knows?
The further time gets, the harder it is to ignore that.
Right.
So rather than ignore it, how do you address it in a productive mental manner, I guess?
Right. And there are a number of philosophies which address that.
Mm-hmm.
Stoicism, Buddhism, both have as one of the main parts of their practice the kind of thinking about death, thinking about mortality.
Yeah.
Also Christianity, a lot of the history of Christianity has been based in do good in your life so that you can have a good afterlife.
Right. A lot of them have some awareness of the afterlife.
Bring me my broadsword and clear understanding. Bring me a cross of gold as a talisman.
So bring me my broadsword and clear understanding. Bring me my cross of gold as a talisman.
This isn't the first time that a character in a Jethro Tull song has grasped at a cross.
That's true. Of gold, no less.
Of gold, no less.
No less.
Glimpse of peace and grasp of last hope divine. In the gathering dusk, when night lights dim, give firm resolve in times of desperation, as spectral visitants in life's dark corridor swim.
Glimpse of peace and grasp of last hope divine. In the gathering dusk, when night lights dim, give firm resolve in times of desperation. As spectral visitants in life's dark corridors swim.
This is some of his most poetic work, and this is some of the most obscure of this album so far, I think.
A lot of the tracks up to this point have had a gentle playfulness to them.
Yeah.
This do not.
Yeah, it's I really think it has to do with the idea of and awareness of mortality.
It's kind of deathbed visions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Or the idea of having deathbed visions. You know, maybe it's not at that point, but that point isn't that far away.
You're planning your deathbed visions.
Yeah, kind of.
Which, I mean,
Why not? Get
else
them in
is-
stone now.
right. And that's very Ian.
Yeah, exactly. I planned to enjoy this.
At my last moments, when I will be at my most vulnerable and most creative, here's exactly what I will do and think.
Planning your last words, you know, your final words. Yeah.
You know those things in American football, sometimes people wear a little thing on their wrist that opens up, and it's got a bit of paper behind the plastic cover.
Oh, that it's like the
plays. The
yeah.
plan for the game.
Yeah.
I've seen there's a popular meme these days where people do that, but it's for a first date. It's like men being like, conversation topics to avoid, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then like acceptable conversation topics. But it's sort of like this is his playbook for death.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, or the end of the band, or just, I think it really comes down to this awareness of time having passed and how much time is left.
And it's something that is so evergreen. I mean, that's the most human thing that you can possibly go through, is the recognition of your own mortality.
Yeah.
Who are you? I'm your mortality? Oh my God, you've lost so much weight.
Wait, is that a good thing? The thinner you get, the picture of Dorian Gray over here.
Glimpse of peace and grasp of hope, of last hope divine. I mean, it does sort of sound like a deathbed conversion, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In the gathering dusk when night lights dim. Oof.
Not night lights like you turn on for your 7-year-old who has to go to the bathroom.
But why not?
Because they wouldn't dim at dusk.
But they might
be turning them on at dusk.
But you know what it makes me think of is Peter Pan.
Okay.
There's a line where Mrs. Darling says, "You'll be protected from all things as long as the night lights are lit."
Mm-hmm.
And the wind, as the window blows open, all the night lights go out.
Oh, that's foreshadowing. That's Chekhov's candle.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it is, and Peter Pan in some ways does represent death. So, anyway.
He is a psychopomp. He's not actually, but what a thesis that would be, huh?
Well, kind of he is. I mean, if you look at J.M. Barrie, the whole inspiration behind Peter Pan, J.M. Barrie had an older brother, who died in a skating accident when he was like 8 or 9.
Mm-hmm.
And so was kind of locked in everyone's mind as a child.
Wow.
And J.M. Barrie grew up with this sense of, well, maybe it should have been me.
Oh, Jesus.
Or
survivor's guilt for some reason.
Survivor's guilt,
Yeah.
but also like, oh, well, James would have done much better at this thing if he was alive.
Well, that guy needed therapy.
And he didn't get it.
He did not get it.
Instead, he wrote plays and smoked opium, probably.
Safe bet.
And hung out with children. He smoked children, hung out with opium.
I'm addicted to kids. This song. So that's the end. We've got 4 individual verses, and then we repeat the first 3, but not in full reverse order. It's almost a frickin' palindrome, and I'm really upset that it's not. So we go cobbled, crash, cymbal, glimpse, cymbal, cobbled, crash.
Well, if you take Cobbled and Crash as a single piece,
Who would do that?
Listen, if you want to make it work.
No, I don't want to stretch it. I want to be upset.
So there are only 4 sets of lyrics.
Yeah, 4 verses. Yeah, or 3 verses in a chorus.
And typically when we have that sort of thing, there are little variations.
Yeah, I don't think there are. I think it's just repetition here. Maybe instrumentally it has progressed and has evolved a little bit, but sonically, singing wise, lyrically, I think it's just the same delivery.
Is it possible that the Stygian hand, remember we were reading at one point about the sin of despair?
Yeah.
I wonder if that's another interpretation. I mean, it really could be almost anything. It could be, whatever the Stygian hand is, it's different for you than it is for me.
Sure, right.
But I wonder if there's this sense of the Stygian hand isn't necessarily death, but it is a loss of faith toward the end of life, which is almost worse than death.
So the second half, this talking about the cross of comfort, the symbols of faith, things like that, that's in defiance of this unholy tempter, the Stygian hand.
Which then comes back because we return to the cobbled roadway, dark as pitch.
Maybe it's the idea that one is it kind of is the idea of, particularly in religion, one is always tempted away from it. It's always a cyclical thing. You're never going to be 100% until you become a bodhisattva.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's something there, that the Stygian hand is always waiting for you. It's always going to come crashing against your brow, and you always have to be ready with your faith, with your philosophy, with grace, and with strength to repel it.
Which boils down to the Stygian hand being humanity, ultimately, because humans are always going to be that weak.
Interesting. I would say that the opportunity for the Stygian hand is baked into humanity. That humanity is always vulnerable to it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was going for.
And the sin of pride is thinking that you've got it under control.
Yeah. Right. That you can avoid the Stygian hand,
but you can't. Crash.
Can't get away. Crash. There it is.
Crash
against my brow. Yeah. Any other interpretation for this? I think that's pretty darn solid, regardless of what Ian had planned for this. Impossible to know,
It's interesting to me that if you pull all the way out, if we use the Tull rhythm method,
there we go,
and we look at the albums and Ian's relationship with religion. In the very beginning, there was this sense of I'm frustrated with organized religion. I'm frustrated with Christianity. And then we very swiftly transitioned into, I've rediscovered the beauty of paganism. I've rediscovered the natural side of religion. And then kind of slowly there have been a lot of songs that kind of combine them or seek to somehow resolve his connection with the natural world with a sense of Christianity, with a sense of Christ. Whether it's the Christ that is taught in churches or that quote unquote Christians believe in. Who would Christ detain in a concentration camp? But now, in this song, there's no mention of flowers. There's no mention of trees. There's no mention of Jack in the Green. It's just the world is dark and oh my God, where's my cross? Because the devil is coming for me.
Right. Whatever that cross may be.
And that's interesting to me. And I'm not saying that he's swung around to Christianity again, but it's just interesting that if you look at the course of the poetry, it follows that cycle.
Yeah. And he's certainly in later years, he's been pro-religion as a concept, whether he actually adheres to one or not. And it just so happens that the symbol of faith, this cross, is really one of the most recognizable symbols of a faith
in the West.
It could be anything.
Anywhere,
yeah.
An acorn.
It could be an acorn. The Stygian hand versus the graven acorn.
Bring me my acorn as a talisman.
Yeah.
Nick,
Omen.
How does the Stygian hand appear to you in your life?
Jesus Christ. I don't know, at 40 with bum ankles and a bum shoulder,
Yeah.
mortality and physicality are becoming more and more, making themselves more and more known,
Sure.
you know, with a tiny little human that I have to continue to raise and want to raise as the best human in the world.
I'm not that tiny.
I've grown a little bit.
Come
on.
I can see over the bar now. Yeah.
I think not legacy per se, but making sure that Rook is the best possible human before my time runs out,
Wow.
I think.
And the fear that you may fail in that.
Yeah, failure either because I don't impart what needs to be imparted or my time ends before I'm done.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. And I think, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think, and
No,
I kind
go
of,
ahead. That's fine.
I will, excuse me. And I kind of hope that, you know, that's a standard issue parent thing. You know, they hand it to you with the birth certificate. You know, here's some baggage for you.
Yeah. Well, why not? I do think that there is a certain amount of inborn parenting instinct that I think hopefully a lot of people do have,
Right. Yeah.
whether everyone can articulate it as eloquently as you have.
Yeah. As a non-parent,
Yeah.
what about you?
What's my Stygian
What's
hand?
your Stygian hand? Yeah.
Oh boy. I feel like it's a Stygian octopus.
So it could be more than one
Just like
Stygian
whack,
hand.
whack,
Yeah.
whack. Yeah, I mean, definitely depression for me, and anxiety. The kind of the many fingers of the Stygian hand. It is so easy for me to fall into, oh, the world is just crap. The world is made for suffering. My life is to be suffering. I'm meant to suffer. Why don't I just suffer about it?
Yeah.
Or the sense that like I'm not good enough. I'm a disappointment. You know, all those cute fuzzies.
Standard human doubts, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for me, what's this, you know, then what is the symbol of faith, the symbol of sacrifice? What's the thing that repels all that?
Yeah.
It isn't really religion.
It's medication.
It's, it's that helps. That is part of that's one of the things engraven on my,
Yeah.
But I think for me, it's remembering that the defiance to believe that no, actually life is beautiful. And like, yes, there are all of these things that happen that can cause you suffering. And there are all these failures that you might go through. And like, yeah, of course, all of that exists. But at the end of the day, there is still, if you choose to see it, there is so much beauty in the world up until the last moment. And I really hope that, you know, I'm very inspired by that. There's a Charlie Chaplin film called Monsieur Verdot, in which he plays a lady killer. He murders rich women for their money, and he's caught and put to the firing squad at the end.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, cigarette? He's like, no. Blindfold? No. Rum? No. Wait. I've never tried rum. And it's this just beautiful moment of like, even while you're facing death, if you can be open to the beauty of the world, then you kind of, in my book, won.
Yeah. That's really pretty. That's really lovely. Like you said, it's difficult not to get beaten down, but there is beauty out there, and if we can all be beautiful together, you know.
And maybe for some people, the golden talisman is music.
Sure, of
is
course.
Listening is the beauty that you find, the comfort that you find in music.
Yeah, there is a lot to be comforted by, and as long as everyone's consenting and you're healthy, you know, it doesn't hurt you.
Yeah.
Then comfort away.
Now the Stygian foot, that's one you really got to look out for. You're always looking out for the hand.
The foot comes out from behind.
Sweeps the leg.
Yep. Sweep the leg, Johnny.
Nick McGill.
Omen, Sade.
tomorrow to next week,
Mm-hmm.
we will be crossing o'er the River Styx. We have paid the Reaper. We've paid the ferryman.
Mm-hmm.
Actually overpaid him.
Do we get a refund at the end?
Well, we got a complimentary cocktail on the boat.
I think it was worth it.
We got first class on the boat.
Yeah.
Beautiful view. If you look to your left,
What is that?
you'll see. Oh, don't touch it. That's Limbo,
Oh my god.
and they will suck you dry, and not in the fun way.
Oh.
You know, thinking of fence sitters.
Hang tight. Hang tight. We got a dog. We got a dog, everyone.
Hang loose.
There goes Gannon.
Hang five. Squilly, squilly, me, 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 me. Squilly, me, mew. Squilly, me, mew.
That's the scatted version of Take 5.
Yeah. Squiddy doodle 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 dee ba ba boom. Doodle doodle dee. Doodle dee.
I ran out of air.
In hell, they're always adding one more beat to the time signature at random intervals. It's Chinese water torture with time signatures.
Ian would be in heaven.
Yeah,
That's Ian's
That's
heaven.
right. That's right. He is Ian's heaven is being the devil in hell, tormenting us with time signatures.
For Ian, hell is other people.
For hell, Ian is other people. Yeah, fascinating song overall.
Mm-hmm.
Glad that we have the pleasure of listening to it. I think it is appropriately uncomfortable. And I think that because the lyrics are so serious, the playfulness comes from the music and that gorgeous lilting accordion jam.
Yeah, and we're about to get real serious for the second half.
Yes, we are.
Starting with next week, we are going to talk over Jerusalem.
Over Jerusalem. Oh boy.
Ian is not taking a political or religious stance. He's merely kind of talking fact here.
Just sitting on a fence.
Just sitting on a fence.
The fence happens to be made of barbed wire and is on fire.
Burning barbed wire.
You know, it's funny, Ian describing himself as a fence sitter. It
Yeah.
reminds me, speaking of Dante's Inferno, have I mentioned Dante's Inferno ever?
Sounds familiar.
Outside of hell, there is, not even able to get into hell are the people, the uncommitted.
Yes,
The people
right.
who never believed in anything during their lives.
Mhm.
And so can't even have the solidity of being tortured. They have to run around following these meaningless banners back and forth for eternity.
And is that limbo technically, or it's not?
I think it's like even outside of limbo.
yeah,
Or maybe it's just beyond limbo.
because limbo has a chance of redemption. Like you pay your time and then you go, or no?
No, that's purgatory.
oh, purgatory, right? Different thing,
Different
ladies
thing.
and gentlemen. Different thing.
Until next week. Could it be the Bobby? No, it's Omen Thomas Sade.
Look out for that unholy tempter. I am Nick McGill.
We are Dark as Pitch, the Feckless Momes.
Crash. This is Talk Tell to Me. I remember the first time I died. It was the glorious year of 1957. I was a naive young stewardess with nothing to lose and everything to baste with the salty juices of possibility. On the day in question, I wore my skirt high and my hopes higher. My little hat sat atop my head at a jaunty angle, much to match my mood. The plane had just descended, seats were released from their upright positions, and tray tables allowed to descend at the passenger's will. The sky shone bright, the sun beaming its brightest bulb, but nothing could outshine the hope of escaping the small town where I grew up. I was finally relieved of the interminable weight of oppression. For in that town, the place where I'd spent the last 11 and 12/8 of my life, I was not allowed my greatest joy. Until the day when a mysterious young man visited and gyrated his delicious hips in such a manner as to transform all of the youths from pure, chaste, perfect, crisp kids to voraciously vicious, dare I say it, and I believe I dare, dancers. Soon we realized what we'd been missing. Our staunchly strict, presuming parents denied us the chance, the gift, the right, the opportunity to move our feet, our bodies, our arms, our minds in a sporadic and rhythmic manner. The populace of parents in an uproar would not brook such irresponsible actions and soon ran the poor boy out. never to be seen again. But now that we'd seen what life could be with a little rhythm, the children could no longer stay satisfied. We left to pursue the pursuits that suited our styles. I needed to get up, up, and far, far away, so flight attending I did. And on that day, that fateful day, my first day on a plane, I died. I choked on a complimentary peanut, and the last thing I remember hearing as the light faded and I became cold and distant was talk told to me as a proud member of the Feckless Moans audio network.